yeah. Hashaviyid.
בעמך כולם צדיקים, everybody is חשוב. זה שרבי פרידמן. על אחת כמה וכמה.
Okay, Rabbi say. Where is Shmulik today?
שומר אחי אנוכי.
Think he may have had a sit. He might sign by here and stuff.
Shmulik doesn't miss a shir.
No, 100%.
He's here every night, right? And all the shir.
Yeah.
That's like Lake Siegel missing a morning, unless he's sick in bed and do that.
Leib Siegel?
Yeah, 6 mornings a week.
He's where?
On the phone, fine.
They learn together?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'm not going on 3 years, but before that, there was like 6, 7 years.
There's still a shir. There's still a Shachris meeting by Rabbi Ginsburg, shul?
No.
Huh?
This is not true about soccer things. I think you don't mind. I said,
Right. Yeah, I was just wondering.
Yeah.
Okay, Rabbi say Hilchis Birkas Hamazon Simin Kuf Pei Beis.
Oof. What's the Simon?
The Simin is Kuf Pei Beis. Yeah, tough Kuf Vav.
Oh.
Tough Kuf Vav. Yeah. Din Kois Birkas Hamazon Shelo Yeh Pogum By Vav Sifin. Sif Aleph. Yesh Oimrim Shabirkas Hamazon Teuna Kois. Afilu biyachid v'tzarich lachza acharov kederech shmechazen achar kol hamitzvah shein chayvot. There is an opinion of Tosfos, that Birkas Hamazon requires a kois. Even if you are eating the yichidus without a mazumin, you also need to have a kois.
Nobody does it with one.
Yesh oimrim v'lo yoichal im like kois levarech alav. Even if you're going to have to miss a meal, it's like Kiddush. Like Kiddush and Havdalah ala kois, Birkas Hamazon needs to be ala kois. Lefiza, im shnayim oichlem yachad, tzarich kol echad litel kois lebirkas Hamazon. If you have 2 people sitting together having a meal, each one will need to have their own kois.
They don't believe in Simon, 3 of them.
Masha'en came b'shloisha, shemezamen yachad hamavarech ala kois, meitziyim midei chivasam ha-kois, k'moi shemeitziyim b'Birkas Hamazon. The halacha is, when it comes to Birkas Hanenin, Birkas HaMitzvahs, one person can make a bracha for someone else. If someone does not know how to make a bracha, I can make a bracha for you. When it comes to, because of the din of Kol Yisrael Arevim Zelazeh, so I have a chiyuv to make sure that you do the mitzvah. If you are unable to fulfill the mitzvah on your own, you need someone to memoitzi you with Kiddush, Havdalah. Someone else could do it for you, even if they were already yotze the mitzvah. Birkas Hamazon is not a regular, although it's a mitzvah min HaTorah. However, you didn't have to eat, you didn't have to wash. That's a reshus. So when you washed and you have to make Birkas Hamazon, it's not considered like a Birkas HaMitzvahs. So therefore, you can't be mighty someone. One person can't be mighty the other person, unless there's a mazumin. When you're together, a number of people together, eating together, then one person could be mevarich for the others, and they listen in and they yoitze. So when you have 3 together, just like the mezamin is mitzi the other 2 with Birkas Hamazon, they sit and listen to his Birkas Hamazon, they can be yoitze if they don't know how. So too, we can mitzi them with his kois, the kois Birkas Hamazon. But 2 people together, what's the connection between the 2 that one can be mitzi the other? So each have a chiyuv to make their own kais. Yeah. However, v'yeshoimim shebirchas hamazon einei te'una kais ela kishem b'varachim mezimon. Others say that this only apply that the whole kais of birchas hamazon is only when you have a zimun. If you don't have a zimun, you don't make.
Rav the Olam do that.
V'yeshem, a third opinion. Shafilu begimel oyasara eina te'una kais l'chayva l'mitzvah namuvchar miyeshloi. Well, ein sarich lachse acharav kedera shemachazin achar mitzvah shehin koiva. V'chein noyakin achshav like this opinion.
It's a mitzvah mufchar, but
It's a mitzvah mufchar, and we do it only when there's a mazumin, either gimel or asara. We see that most of the oilam does by asara. Again, let's just finish off the statement. Amed dvarim amurim. Zimun. Aval b'yachid ein tzarich kois klal af l'mitzvah mufchar afilu yoshay, meaning we don't accept the first opinion at all. If you're b'yichidis, you don't at all. There's no chiyuv at all to make an a kois birchas hamazon.
not should go chiyuv, we don't do it.
Minig is not that way, right?
May I ask?
The Alter Rebbe doesn't say that you don't need it, right? You don't do it, you don't need, but if you did it, yeah.
Maybe you mentioned it. I'm sorry, Mike. What's the reason to do a case? What kiddush you do on a case? Why?
The reality is that every kois bracha we do on a kois. By the Mila, by the Pidyon Aben, by the Birkas Erusin, the Suin, Sheva Brachis. We're always saying it on a kois.
Every kosher bracha we do on a kais, but that's because it's a. Why do you do a kais in the
Because
first
any
place?
kois bracha. Because that's a good question. That's a question because
you don't have a question.
No, in other words, kiddush we require on a kais.
you also
Why?
do kiddush. You do everything. Yeah.
What other mitzvahs do we require a kais for?
Pidyon,
I mean,
Mila.
Havdalah.
certain types that we do require, and certain types that we don't. I guess it's not a question. And when I'm Talmud Torah, do I need a kais? When I put on tzitzis, do I need a kais? What needs a kais? What doesn't? When Shabbos, I don't know, shake lulav and esrog, do you need a kais? I mean, which mitzvahs?
I hear. You want to get into the very essence of the.
Who decides who decided what triggers the need of a kais and what doesn't?
You have the wine store?
When I give tzedakah, I don't,
Get tzedakah, put it on the cost also.
or is it certain I've gone on a kais why?
I mean, it's only by a koisha bracha. The shaila, what's
What's the pirvacha?
what is koisha bracha? It says ein oimim mishira. Chazal say ein mishira el al yayin. When you were mishabeach the Eibishter, you do it over yayin. Just thinking.
We don't.
Just thinking out loud like this. When you have a birkas mitzvah, it's not a birkas hashavat. Let's say a bracha on it, like you're saying lulav, tilas lulav, tefillin. There, the ikr is the mitzvah, not the bracha. You're yaitza the mitzvah, regardless whether you say the bracha or not. Havdalah in Kiddush, the mitzvah is the bracha. The mitzvah is the bracha. That is the idea. You should say a bracha. And you're saying a shevach HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's what you're supposed to do. When you say a shevach HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you're supposed to do it over a cup of wine. Okay. So, Birkas Hamazon is also a bracha for itself.
What the reason in the beginning said it's even one, Yesh Omrim, even one has to be spouse.
Yeah.
It's what kind of shevach it is. You by yourself making kosher. Three, I understand.
You make Kiddush by yourself also privately.
But for the family.
No, even your own by yourself, you have to make Kiddush.
You need to make kiddush Friday night. You use a kais.
What does he do? Birkas Hamazon?
Oh,
I think the Mishabura has a shita here. I don't know if we have a Mishabura here in the shul.
No, so somebody said make a pick up the Amazon.
Say,
If you have a
I think
Mishabura,
when you're alone, it's not like it's
Peleg Beis.
That's what you said.
Let's get Amazon is different.
Yeah.
So if you by yourself, you do it in the Kiddush and the Kat Amazon.
The Yesh, by the way, in Hayom Yom it does bring down that the Rebbe brings down somewhere in Hayom Yom that there's that to do make Birkas Hamazon even when there's three. Most people are not knowing that way.
What do you mean?
I think it's Hayom Yom, maybe a letter of the Rebbe. I'm not sure that you should redactic even when there's three.
Not
Like we see here in Shulchan Aruch that mentions Gimel Oyasara. Shabrura Kuf Pebe is always Gimel. What does he say?
What do you say?
Let's read the Lashon of the Lavoshe Shekaya. Vayedaita sheberoiv habrachis shetiknu chachamenu zal tiknum l'sadram al hakois. Veishu derech kovid v'shevach no l'sadr kein shivchoy berchosis barich im hakois shebiyadei. V'sha'oma hakosuf in Tehillim kois yishuis esa
Shem.
Shem Hashem Eko. Gam al pi HaKabbalah yesh b'yisoid gadol a great secret ki hu remez la'ashirus hanikra kois yishuis v'amakabel mikulam u'mashpia braches hanasa l'chol ha'elam. No, I'm sorry. Not Ashirus, Asiris.
Oh.
The kois
What's the theory?
is Raimes to the 10th level, maybe means Malchus. Anikra kois ishues, the Hamakabel Mikula, the 10th level, receives from everyone, receives from all the previous levels of Sviris. Umashpia brachis parnasa v'chol ha'olam. And that level is mashpia to all levels. How is kois? Kais is somehow Kais is the idea of a Kabbalah, Vahavein, and understand this idea. So the Bush is hinting out that there's some Kabbalistic understanding as to why we dafka want to have a Kais.
Maybe we see some in the bottom.
By the way, the middle opinion here, it says that you only say it when there's a zimun, is actually from the Zoyar. That's middle opinion from the Zoyar.
Kabbalah.
Yeah.
Which one's the middle? The
Yishayim the Birkas Hamazon needs a kois, but only when you're benching the zimun. First sheet is every yachid should do on it.
right.
Middle one is only bezimun. And the third one is only bezimun. Even bezimun is only a mitzvah mufkar. But right, noyagin, actual like that opinion that it's only a mitzvah mufkar. So the oilam we see by 10, they're makbid to do it. By 3, most oilam was not. But you do have in Chabad there are certain chassidim that are makbid. Not that many, but there are makbid in 3. I think there is a somewhere in the letter of the Rebbe or Hayom Yom where it does say that maybe the Chabad Rebbeim were makbid to do it when there was 3. When the Torah mitzvah mufkar is similar.
Any atova and if in the kosher water.
If it's a new wine and everything that you didn't have, you have all the halachas. Ashkenazim are really not so don't make
Not as strong.
teva meitiv. The Mishabura brings down that he says that even though the Maharshal in the back held that even when you are benching b'yichidus, you should still use a kois. But many achroinim were mekel. And he says, look in the Graz, meaning Hagoyin of Zalman the Alter Rebbe, and look in the Chaye Adam that they're makel, not to make on a kois. V'chein, it's brought down the name of the Arizal that we do not make when we do privately a kois.
This is a grass in the Shulchan Aruch, right?
Yeah, whenever the Mishabura says that, just like he means Gra Hagayin Abiliyo, Graz, he's the way he wrote the Alter Rebbe's name. So over here, he brings this lashon that we have from the Alter Rebbe, Noyeg and Achshav, Chenig and Achshav, the parentheses. The Mishabura is relying on that. He writes in his Pnim, he writes in a previous shtickle, Minig ha'olam lahakol bazeh, kedei ha'shlishis, sheloi lachs alakois. Only when you have a zimon that he writes on the bottom, that comes from the Graz. So this is what the Alter Rebbe is saying, that the minig achshav is not to be timachmer. V'yesh medaktekin shevarchem b'yachid laniach hakoyis al shulchan u'leilechois b'yadek they lotzes of divrei hakol. Some have a minig, a medaktik, and when they are benching b'yichidus, they put the kois on the table, they don't hold it in their hand. This way, they lots the v'hakol all the shittas. If you hold you need a kois, there is a kois on the table. Like we learned once, and maybe we will learn again in Simon Kuf Tzadik, holding a kois in the hand and a mitzvah mufcher. When you make a kois shabracha, you don't need to hold it in your hand to be yaitza. It's on the table, you're also yaitza. So I have it on the table. If I hold that I need a kois, I have it on the table. If I hold I don't need it, it's on the table. It's not. I didn't pick it up. It's sort of like it's a kois on the table. If I held it on my hand, I'm making a statement that I hold that you need to have a kois. So some medaktikim put a kois on the table and then memanav shachi yaitza. Avol l'mais again, the Alter Rebbe points out, have a minig oilam shaloi levarich al hakois klal b'yachid, v'nochin minig zeh al derech hakabbalah. This minig oilam was not to make ever an hakois b'yachid, and a pi kabbalah. This is the way makes sense. A pi Zohar and Arizal and other sifrei mukubalim that they bring down. This thing in Sefer Menhagim Chabad. Now I see in the bottom they bring in a Sefer Menhagim Chabad. Mevarchen ala kois b'kois bracha af kishein asara. But that's like the Alter Rebbe said earlier.
Semen shlosha is okay.
Yeah. You could, but I see that most of it's all a mitzvah namofcher. I see that the oilam is noig that when it's 10, that's when they do the mitzvah namofcher. When it's 3, you don't see that many people doing mitzvah namofcher.
But why Chabad hold it like this? Not like this.
That's a different.
Minhag,
That's a different. Yeah, that's a Kabbalah to hold it that way. It's a whole system. Kabbalah, how you should. I have to see. It could be it's from that Izal.
I have a question for you. It seems that I understand you make a doc on the case for Kiddush Abdallah, when you bench on the case. When you do the mitzvah with the case, but benching, you kind of just finished eating and drinking a lot, and you're benching, you're making the after bracha for the food, and now you're about to make. It almost seems like levatala. You almost not quite levatala, but the
bracha that you're saying.
What
the bracha?
Right, you're finishing eating, so you're doing the Birkas Hamazon. Now you're starting again. It feels like,
in Judaism, we don't stop with the food.
You have to make it right.
But in other words, let's say you I guess I was thinking of, let's say you plan on eating
you have to make another bracha because you're
adding
once you do Birkas Hamazon.
Like let's say you plan on eating a piece of cake now. And in another 2 minutes, I plan on eating another piece of cake. If I make a Birkas Hamazon now, if I make a alam another, I've done these like extra brachas. Do certain
say every bracha divrei shevach al yayin.
Okay.
Especially if you change your horn, if there's a bread, it's absolutely.
They have a pasuk, my own pasuk, marbe berachot.
Yeah.
Siv Beis. The Koyes Birkas Hamazon ein el shayayin v'loy shel shar mashkin. Afilu kava sudase aleim on other mashkin. Shakol kay shabracha leitiknu el miyayin. Shehu misameach elikim v'anoshim.
Okay.
Pasuk and Shoftim, and that yayin is dafke misameach elikim v'anoshim.
Never benosh.
We make on yayin. Mikoy meshena yayin matzui in places locales where there's no the wine is not available. Vasheichar shamashkin beer or other drinks. Heim chamar medina. Those are the drinks of the country.
Oh, sorry.
Dahainu, what does that mean? Sheroiv anshe mokim darkum. The kvoya lehem sudasam. K'moishe koyven al yayim v'koyim mishumatzui. Mevarachan Birkas Hamazon af appreciyesh yayim be'ir. You can make a bracha on Kamar Hamedina in a place where most people in that area region they kivea their suda on.
What does Kedei Suda mean? What you drink before drink throughout the meal, or what?
Yeah,
you drink?
yeah.
In this day and age, most people maybe do water.
So he's gonna talk about that soon. Yeah.
Hmm?
In Russia is vodka. So they always said vodka. Vodka like wine for them.
So
vodka comes in vodka. Vodka is water in Russia.
find out like
Maybe
When I was in Russia, when I was in Russia there for some summers, they were having 3 meals a day. They served you were there, Mustama. It was a Bachra, no?
Ukraine.
Right? 3 meals a day. Everyone was served with a glass of tea. Tea. Chai.
shy.
Remember it's such a
Where were you? Got
not in Russia. Not in Ukraine, in Russia.
which city?
A few. Chelyabinsk, Nizhny Novgorod.
Spasibo.
Hakoy Gorod, he remembers his Russian, I think. So, Lamaisa over there, I remember hot tea was a breakfast, lunch, and supper was a glass of a hot tea with the tea leaves on the bottom swimming around the cup. It was not like we had the
In a
tea
bag.
in a bag. So those days, you probably went to the marketplace and they shoveled out for you and they weighed, some tea for you, 2 leaves. So there was tea leaves in everything had tea leaves in it floating around.
In French also,
They do it?
Yeah,
They don't have in bags.
I know their bag, but I know that
also
it's
said
increased.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
So fancy. They want to bring us back to the old times.
Okay, Priacho, Prama, Praba, this today.
Yeah. So you got to go straight.
Yeah.
So there's certain drinks that we're keveying on. Now we have a lot of different drinks and a shefa. The whole lifestyle changed. But a mold, there was like a drink that people would drink during their meal. Was a drink that they would drink. So how do we decide what's a chamara medina? If there's wine not available, then most people obviously are finding themselves a different drink. There's not so available wine. V'chol she'ena yayin harbe gadol kederech yoim svives kol ha'ir, filo gadol ma'at samach ha'ir. If there isn't a lot of wine grapes growing around the city, even if there's a little bit, even if there's a lot of wine in the stores, that doesn't mean wine available. Wine available means when grapes grow there. Remember, those days there was no plane flying around, shipments going. You had what grew in your neighborhood, in your region. That's what you ate. That's what you ate. That's what you drank. Over here, wherever we are, we get all the different cultures and all different countries. We get everything wherever you are, for the most part. But then, in your climate was a colder climate. That grapes didn't grow in that climate, like it was in a lot of areas in Europe. They did not have grapes. So even if you could ship wine, they were able to get wine, but it was very expensive, the wine. So, and even a little, the Rebbe says, even if a little bit grew, a lot of wine in the stores, it's not enough. Still, it's not enough to make it cheap. It's not cheap. It doesn't become what everyone drinks. V'vadai ein roiv anshir koivin tamid sudasam alehim. Olav. So the Maisa, in such a case, it's called Chamar Medina, and in that case, you're allowed to substitute it with wine. We don't require you to pay a lot of money to buy wine. You can make it Chamar Medina. We'll talk about today soon. It's still a mitzvah mufcher to make an yayin. And for sure, if you have wine at home, even in an area where wine is not the main shasiya, and you have wine in your home, it's not a hiddur to make on other mashkin. It's not usr. You're still allowed to make chamar even if you have wine in your home, because here it's chamar medina. Elam ken yesh ma'at. Let's say a kiddush koyin b'chsamazin, eshehu taun kois devihako. Everyone agrees that kiddush needs a kois. Birkas hamazon is machlokes if it needs kois. The third opinion that we're noyix is only mitzvah mufcher. So if you have wine at home, you should use it for Birkas hamazon. But if you don't have wine for Kiddush, you have to keep the wine for Kiddush. Save the wine for Kiddush. Kiddush for sure needs wine. I have a way out. I can make Kaddish on bread. Challah. Kiddush is l'chatchila instead of wine. It precedes even Birkas hamazon, even though you have an option of making a pas. You have a kol zeh. The machshir Sif Gimel calls them b'mashkin chashuv, and this is the last sif regarding this subject. Calls them b'mashkin chashuvim k'shecher. It's only regarding v'chayotze by chashuv drinks, like beer. So that can be compared to wine. Mashkin gruim, real cheap drinks. Kamay mashakoyim medinas elu kvas, a barsht. Ein lahem chashivas yois b'mayim. They're just like water. There's no chashivas to it. So it's not just that you drink it a lot. It has to be a chashuv drink that you drink. Beranis, that answers your question. It's not chashuv. So even though now we're having all these various drinks, it's not chashuv drinks.
You can do them for $1 though, but not for the Zooming.
Vein tzarich loymer kiddush avdallah that you should not use those drinks. V'she'ein nikra chamar medina ela mashiyesh chashivos ba'ois medina ke'ein chashivos yayin b'chol medinas. Has some level of comparison to wine.
Coffee.
Maybe coffee.
Yes.
A beer you can make that. I saw people make that.
Right. Here,
Yeah.
you could.
If I don't have wine, I make on the pot, kiddush.
Yeah.
What I do by kat Amazon, I can make on the pot too. I don't have wine.
No. Pass only by kiddush, because it's the suda. Because it finishes for the suda, and suda you make them pass. Over here, there's no chi of suda.
How come they allowed on pot to make if you have no kiddush, but if you have 10 to make,
It should be mixed with alcohol, or is alcohol is required, or
So when the Europeans when emigrated to the United States and to the free world, they brought with them their minhagim. One of the minhagim was that in areas in Poland, Russia, Hungary, grapes didn't grow, and over there they didn't even have wine for Pesach.
in Ukraine, Poland, and for Hungary, grapes grow. Yeah, that's what of it. On the Carpathia.
Maybe certain regions,
No,
Carpathia.
maybe in the south.
No,
Yes,
for
Carpathia.
Ukraine West, for Polish East, for Hungary also East. In Carpathia, grape, yeah, okay.
they told me that a few hundred years ago.
Well, you know what? Let me just stick to Russia.
Absolutely. For Hungary.
In Russia and Ukraine, there was a issue with grapes for Pesach. They would make raisin wine. Raisin wine.
I know West. I saw grapes. I drink wine from those grapes.
Maybe there is, but it's not a lot. There's not a region meant to grow grapes. The Alter Rebbe says here, even if you do have something grows there, but it's You also have in New York, someone will grow an Essex tree in the backyard, right?
So, yeah.
There's some grapes growing in the backyard. Some people have. It's not
Tuscany, a lot of grapes, yeah.
where.
Tuscany, yeah. Long Island, not Tuscany, a lot of grapes. Like Tuscany Mountains, yeah.
On the mountains, on the mountains. Yeah,
Catskills,
Catskills.
yeah, there are grapes.
Yeah, okay.
Kedem, I think, has upstate.
Concord grapes.
You never.
In Carpathians, a lot of grapes. It's not a few grapes, a lot.
It depends on the region. And here the Alter Rebbe says it goes by each city. Each city. Each city goes for itself. You judge each city. Now remember, there wasn't a lot of shipping in those days. There wasn't a lot of shipping.
For Bakan to Bash, probably by train, probably 8 hours by train. 8 hours by train. Okay. Okay, so it's gonna be 3 days.
I'm saying then, a few hundred years ago, it was very hard to get. Sometimes, some years it was easier. Some
What's
years
hurting you?
not so easy. Okay.
What?
Okay, so Hadel on coffee.
Ice coffee is better.
Hadel on coffee.
Iced coffee.
I've been making Hadel on iced coffee usually. Should I not do it?
But you enjoy
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
You
I
enjoy
enjoy
it.
it very much.
So it's double.
Of course, I have the
better,
caramel
better.
syrup with the sugar, with the Splenda,
Yeah.
Da Vinci, Dolce, whatever you get from Amazon.
It's good.
And that's what
It's hard to think into what things were those days. Today we have all types of fruits, anything we want available. Then you had what was grew in the area, whatever produce grew in the city or grew near the city. In Hilchos Shabbos, Alter Rebbe says 24-hour wagon drive in direction. If there's no grapes, then it's not Chamar Medina in that city. Was there no wine? Yes, there's wine. There is some shipping. There is some wine brought from different places, but it's a more expensive item, and it doesn't become the drink that everyone's drinking for all their meals, because it's an expensive item. So then you can use Chamar Medina. So now, because of this, in Russia, Hasidim were always used to drinking mashke, vodka. So that was the Chamar Medina. What do they do, Yitzchak, by a meal in Russia? You take down a glass of vodka.
It's not the same vodka as now. It's a different vodka.
It's the real vodka.
No, it's not real vodka. It's very poor quantity, poor quality vodka. Because it's homemade vodka. It's like very, very bad smell. I know what they mean. Very bad smell and very like heavy taste. It's not the same vodka as now. No, they're not filtered. The filter is so again, Lubavitcher vodka and Polish vodka is two different things. Because in Belarus, vodka, in Poland vodka, they produce vodka for 1,000 years probably, and they have not bad quality. Polish good vodka. But in Belarus and Ukraine, vodka was from potato. It's not great. Not great at all. So basically, most probably, what I believe, there was big shipping of wine because they did have a shipping from Poland, a shipping from South Ukraine, a shipping from Litva. Lubavitch is not so far from Litva, from Litva. So I believe it's most probably they had wine from there and what from there. I believe.
Everyone made vodka in their backyard from the basement.
You can, but it's going to be very poor quality.
Moonshine.
Yeah, it's going to be real.
Russian moonshine.
Yeah.
It's like you sound like an expert.
Homemade vodka from Russia.
Yeah.
It's directly from Russia. But that was close.
Special occasion.
This drink mentioned here, kvass. I used to hear the older Hasidim would say that they would drink kvass in Russia.
Yeah.
What was kvass?
The kvass is kind. So there are like a few different type of kvass. So in nowadays, kvass is meant as a special drink from fresh butter made from rye bread. Rye bread. So they taking rye bread into water, yeast, and this stays for couple days. Yeah. So first of all, stays in warm place. After that, they put in like more colder place. Stays in few days, and they filtering it. It doesn't. I mean, it's not alcoholic. It's not alcoholic beverage. That fast. In that day, fast might be uh, different thing. They might cook some vegetables, put in water.
Apple cider.
Like maybe.
They used to make apple cider.
Yeah,
What did it
but,
taste like? Beer?
It sounded like it tasted good. It was like they made the drink for the
In
Fabrengens.
Ukraine, when I was there 25 years ago, they had like these stands,
yeah,
like
fast. Yeah.
like a little kiosk that sold
Yeah.
glass.
Yeah.
We were told it's not necessarily kosher, so we didn't have.
Yeah, there should be gesture. Nowadays, Kvass has to make has to be with gesture because they use yeast from milky yeast.
Some kind of fermented drink. So some kind of fermented drink.
Yeah,
What's that thing? Kombucha?
basically,
It's like kombucha.
you can find it in the stock market.
Okay, Rabbi said, come.
Let's continue without that.
Afilo eine shtias roiv anchi in the middle of Gimel, el shoysenoi sel prokim bavad pei chashivusoi. Al Rebbe says here, even if not everyone drinks it, but it's from time to time they drink it. Pei chashivusoi k'may med the Medinas Elu. Leinigra mipnei zeh levarich or lekadosh alav. Kiven shizel mipnei chashivusoi shechoshev yosim ne'ashecher. Really, it's better than Sheikhon. That's why they don't drink it as often because it's a higher quality. V'gamu chamara medina yoyser mimenu ki mishachoshev yoyser. Shekol mailas hayayin l'koisha bracha eina elam pnei chashivusoi. Loi mipnei shu roiv ashsibim b'koimu shematz leroiv. The whole idea of yayin being chashiv is not because most people drink it. Most people drink also water and tea. The chashivus hayayin is because it's chashiv ba'etzim. It's a chashiv a drink. She'apim b'koimu sheshar mashkim roiv ashsiyah Afa became its of yayin. Yayin always keeps its chashivos, even in places where there is something else, which is chamar medina, beer, vodka, something else chamar medina. It still has its chashivos, yayin, and therefore it's a mitzvah and a muvchar to make an yayin. And can call mashke shechoshev yoyser or karav yayin yoyser. Any drink that's more chashiv is more closer to wine. It could be better than beer. Masha noga hamoyin shoyts and shecher besuda. V'yachar asuda koyv ma'atzim lishis made vash mevarachem birkas hamazon al shecher. V'oimraim shehu chamar medina. Ubizi mitzvah. Without the Rebbe, huh?
You should be doing on the Yidvash.
Yeah. The Rebbe says it's made vash, this honey drink, was much more chashuv than beer. So what people were doing in those kinds, they didn't have wine, was something that was very expensive. So they would drink beer during the meal. After the meal, like after the meal, people have like a tea. After the meal, they would sit down and have this honey drink. That was the drink. But Birkas Hamazon, they wouldn't make on the honey drink. They would make on beer. So Alter Rebbe, that's mavaz of the mitzvah. If you have over here a honey drink, which is more chashiv than beer, you should be making on the honey drink Birkas Hamazon. Shelo yehei shulchancha malei v'shulchan rabcha rekam. This is included to what Chazal say, that your table should not be full and the table of your master empty. For you take honey drink. When it comes to making Birkas Hamazon, I want to be cheap and I'm going to use beer. Also, when it comes to dinei brachas, besides for the mitzad the Birkas Hamazon, mitzad the brachas, when they have something which is more liked, you're supposed to make a bracha what you like for the other drink. So you should make on the honey drink the Birkas Hamazon for the shecher. So because of it was chaviv by those that came from Russia. It was very chaviv, and they continued to make, and also some parts of Hungary, Hungarians that they make also by Shabbos by day, they make kiddush on a schnapps glazela, a little cup of schnapps. And it's also the same thing. They have two problems there, both that it's not wine, and also that's less than a revius.
Mm.
Not a revius.
Couple very uncle makes on a whole becker.
He makes it a whole becher. So for those Yidden that came, this was something that they with their whole life. This is what they made on.
Like water.
And you can't, it is, today's days, we have wine everywhere, but it doesn't mean, in those days when wine was not everywhere, automatically meant other drinks were Chamar Medina. But if you had wine, then wine was the Chamar Medina. Wine was the drink, and you don't use Chamar Medina. Today, it changed. We have a lot of Chamar Medinas. Even though we have wine, we have other drinks that are Chamar Medina. And a lot of different types of Chamar Medina. It's still a mitzvah and a mufchar to take wine. However, if mashke is chaviv by you, so there's a mokum to say that you can make a mashke because it's chaviv by you. And that was the heter that they...
At night also.
No, only Simchas Torah, but no, never make by night. Never make by night.
Grape juice falls on the
Wine. Grape juice falls under the category of wine. But it's not, it doesn't have the mitzvah and mufchar of wine. Wine is considered still alcoholic beverage, is considered,
grape juice is second best or something. There's something else.
yeah, second best, yeah.
What is a sheikar? What is this? Was like compared to wine? What is sheikar? Is that beer?
Sheikar means beer. Look at translation.
By the way, grape juice, there were some that want to taina that grape juice is, you're not yoitza for kiddush.
The chashivas really.
No, because not because of that. The Gemara says that mashke. The Gemara says that soichet is a brayse soichet on eshkel shal novim makadosh alav. You could squeeze a cluster of grapes and make kiddush on it. I think we one time discussed in the shiurim here. Shabbos.
It's like muktzah.
By the way, there was a discussion. The Gemara says you soichet, but how you soichet Shabbos and all those skita.
Yeah.
Like
Discussion.
maybe means like right before Shabbos.
So one of the pirushim is right before. Other pirushim they were soichet into food. I don't know. Then they poured it out of the food. So anyways,
we didn't ferment yet.
no. So that was fine for kiddush, but some on a taina today they put into the grape juice sulfites.
Yeah.
The sulfites it doesn't allow it to become alcoholic.
No, so that stops
Fermentation
yes, this stops
stops the
fermentation.
process.
Yeah, stop.
There was minority opinion that held that because it can't become wine, this doesn't have the status of wine. You can't. Chazal, we're talking over had the potential to be wine. This does not have the potential to be wine, so you can't make kiddush on it. Lamaisa today, I think all the grape juice, at least majority of the grape juices have sulfites in them, and they all have the best achsherim on it. So it's not makubal the paskin like this that sulfites is an issue. There is a way how to get out of it. By pouring some wine into your grape juice. That will take away the effect of the sulfites. So that's why I heard in the name of it, Abzalma Shimon Tvarkin, that you pour a little wine in the grape juice, and then the grape juice is more mahuter because it's if you can handle it. Well, they'll mix it, then it will remove the effect of the sulfite. So
in amount we didn't get that. Like 10%, 1%. Even
those that know that make wine, they know. I don't know. You make wine?
No,
I think a little bit is fine. I don't know exactly.
Make wine, but myself, I didn't make wine.
You make vodka.
Yeah, in Birkas, there are families.
A lot of people make for Pesach wine. Some people a whole year. I remember when I was learning in yeshiva in Montreal. I don't know why. I think it was very expensive. Maybe it still is. They bring wine over the border. Most people made their own wine or bought from people who made their own wine. Most people did not drink wine from the company wine. Yeshiva did not provide company wine. We had like these little milk bottles full of wine and all the tables to make it. It was horrible, by the way. I don't know if it was any hidden mitzvah. It didn't taste too good, but they would buy it by a certain family that would make the wine. Maybe. You also went to Montreal, right?
I was there in yeshiva for a year.
Each year. And then the nuns, the nuns.
I plead the fifth. I don't know.
The 90s,
Yeah, around 90. That 91.
so they were serving,
92.
you remember this, that they were serving.
91, 92. Yeah,
So you remember that they were,
yeah, I forget the family. There's a Mraz up there, right?
yeah, it could be with
I used
Mirazza.
to get it from
So they're serving a lot of these, the rich people there have regular wine. For some reason, it does. I don't remember the reason. This is something of a border issue, something importing it.
I tested this wine. It's terrible. It's so terrible. Right?
I was expecting.
Damn, it's covered. What's in covered? Yeah, you don't take.
That was terrible.
Ah,
So
They had them all organic.
the promise you that's like didn't go purity, like something like that. You got pizza for the dollars, it's like but it's
So it's to help with
like how
it depends what grapes you take. I think you have to know what you're doing. I
much can I say?
think you have to know what you're doing. It depends what type of grapes you get. If you get good grapes, you can make good wine.
I tried one time, just was enough for me. From Zalman, yeah. The Zalman buys this wine.
So,
Liver,
Havdalah coffee.
For Pesach.
Professor, yeah.